You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye. This is going to be episode 30 something. Now we're just going to stop counting because we've hit the penis, the penis. Yep, the penis, the pinnacle, everything all in one here. As we can see, we do have a special guest today. This is going to be a little bit of a special episode in terms of how we are kind of doing things. It won't be a back and forth talking nonsense between Dad and myself. It's going to be a little bit more structured, and we're going to bring a really important message out there to you, to everybody out there who watches, which we appreciate our 37 subscribers. Much love. Thank you all who are new members. And we're getting to the smashing and liking a little too early. The YouTube overlords are going to, get after us a little bit. We are going to start the episode the same way we normally do, especially with a special guest. We're going to ask Dad how he's doing, and then he can actually introduce who we have here. So, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Very well. I have my better half with me. This is Patricia.
Hello, everyone.
I refer to her as Pat most of the time, or Puddin, Puddin. We left the G off. So if you hear any of those names, she answers to all of them. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, Pat, it is great to have you on here. You're one of the reasons of why this is going to be a little bit of a special episode. We're going to talk about something that we briefly mentioned, I believe it was last time, where we talked about Santa's Forgotten Heroes is kind of an outreach program, kind of a little thing that we're going to discuss. And it was basically you two who got it all set up with a little bit of help here and there, and then now a great big giant group hug. Sort of thing that it is now, which we appreciate everybody who does contribute and does look in and look after these folks. All these people are very, very generous, and the folks who you all looking after are very blessed for that. So, Pat, if you want to kind of take us away, we're going to talk about the history of this Santa's Forgotten Heroes, and we're going to kind of give you the skinny and what has gone down throughout the years. This is year number 10, so
absolutely, yes.
So, hallelujah, that is awesome. I would like to see anybody else keep anything going for any amount of time, because 10 years, especially to us millennials, is like a whole nother generation. So kudos to you all being dedicated to do that and giving your hearts and minds and time out to them. It is super cool. So Pat, why don't you take it away?
Okay. Well, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the history of it and then where we are today. And Jay will, as we're talking, we'll have some photos for you to kind of explain a little more of what we're talking about. But in the beginning, we had a little bit different outreach in mind, but we realized we really couldn't do it the way we wanted to. So we brainstormed and decided this was a better fit. And when I say we had a few brothers and sisters. We belonged to a motorcycle club at that time, and we wanted to do something, give back to the community. And we found that the veterans home in Sumner County they weren't being taken care of at Christmas. They were kind of forgotten. So that's where the name Santa's Forgotten Heroes came to mind. So, the Sumner County Veterans Home is located in Gallatin, Tennessee. It is a nonprofit organization owned and operated by the American Legion. Within its rooms are esteemed veterans of our armed forces, and they can be Navy, Army, Air Force, Marines, and at any given time, there's up to about between 25 and 30 veterans living. It was an old hotel changed into a veterans home. So, each year, Santa's Forgotten Heroes collects necessary items for the veterans and items that we would normally take for granted. We make up gift bags and boxes for our forgotten heroes in Sumner County. The tradition started back in it started back in 2012. The first year, with some donations from the motorcycle club we were in, we gathered some donations. We went and we bought just some necessary items. And we ended up with one small grocery bag for each veteran. And it had maybe toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant, just necessary items that we felt maybe they needed. So with these donations and with Santa, we showed up the Saturday before Christmas and we went door to door, knocking on the door. Some were home, some weren't. So if they weren't home, we just left it. And inside was a note thanking them for their service and saying, we appreciate everything you've done. Here's a few things from us. That was the very first year. And as you can see in the picture, that it was just a small bag, nothing major, just some necessities. But we wanted to make sure that we did something for the ones who, they gave so much of themselves and to give us the freedoms that we have today. So the first 5 years, we pretty much stayed with just the basic items, and it stayed pretty much within just some family and friends and within the club. And we would, that was our project every year. And so the Saturday before Christmas, we would always go over with Santa and we would pass out the items.
And the reason she's doing most of the talking is because she's a seamstress and she made me a Santa suit years ago. Before we started doing this, she made me a Santa suit. And so all I had to do was suit up and shake hands, thank them for their service, pass out candy canes and say, ho, 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 who's been good and who's been bad, who's been good and bad and all that. So she'll do most of the explaining because she's handled all of this throughout the years. With help from some other ladies and some other guys and stuff. And so that's why you'll hear her do most of the talking, because all I did was suit up and hang out.
I thought you were going to say the reason she's doing most of the talking is because you and I have talked enough, just.
Well, that too.
Put a moratorium on us a little bit there.
But as I was saying, we basically would just rely on friends and family to help provide the items, and when I say necessary items, basically the shampoos, toilet paper, things like that. So after about 5 years, we were really starting to do good. We had several people that did couponing that would donate large amounts. So as you can see in this picture, it went from the small grocery bag to shopping bags. And we would get big shopping bags and we would fill them with the necessary items. And one of the years we found out that one of the veterans had a grandson he was raising. So in the picture with the big shopping bags, it's hard to see, but there's a big box there. When we found out one of the veterans had a grandson he was raising, we made sure that year that the grandson received and had a really good Christmas that year from all of us. But it was becoming so big and we were getting so many of the necessary items that we wanted to make sure that we could do a little more for them. So about 2015, we started having them fill out a form that basically said, what are some of your likes? What are some things you want, and if Santa could bring you something, what would you like it to be? Plus, we asked them to fill out their sizes. And in the beginning, I don't want to say blow us off because that wasn't it, but they were kind of hesitant about filling out anything or asking for anything.
They're real private. They're private people.
Right.
They've gone to war and they've seen things that a lot of us can only imagine. Okay. And they saw it day in and day out, and they served for their country, and they're just kind of private people. And it was almost kind of an invasion of privacy where, what's your name and what was your branch of service and what's your pant size and what shoe size did you wear? So it was hard in the beginning to get all of them filled out. Now, like she said, it's 25 to 30 rooms. You might, one year you have 25, one year you have 30, so it was just hard to get them all back So you just had to do the best you could with what you had. So anyway.
So, but as the years progressed, we noticed that we went from getting maybe 8 back to maybe 13 back to maybe 15 back. And this year, we got all of them back. Now, some of them may not fill out the whole form. They may just put, all I need is gift cards or,
Sure.
But some of the things that they were putting on the list that was just heartbreaking was they would say, I'd really like some barbecue potato chips. And we're like, man, that's kind of heartbreaking that these are veterans who've served our country and something they desire like barbecue potato chips is an extra to them. It's not something that they would buy on their own because they're so budgeted. So, but we saw a lot of that, just things that we thought, man, I would have never thought they would ask for those items.
That we take for granted on a daily basis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the forum started helping us figure out more about the veterans. So in 2016, Santa, this has become such a passionate event that he had open heart surgery that year. And on December 13th, Santa was having open heart surgery. And he was about a week out of the hospital when it was time for our event. And so we were trying to figure out what we were going to do and maybe just have someone else help out Santa that year. But he was so passionate about this. He's like, no, I'm going to go. So he wasn't even out of the hospital, but a little over a week. And he was there doing this event because
you were there holding me up. I don't know if you remember that.
Here to give people context, Santa is obviously Dad in this case, just to make sure that that's clear. And when he says you, and he's looking at the screen,
I'm looking at you.
That's what's going on. So we
hello.
Ho ho ho. That was fun being the elf in the hoodie with the sunglasses, like stay with Dad.
You weren't on we wasn't on no shelf. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, that was it. And it was pretty close to just kind of being something to lean on, right? Because it's like, all right,
that's
no, y'all stay back there. Hey, okay, cool, back off. Greedy little
take this
bastard.
candy cane and get out of here.
So yes, I remember that very well, and for whatever reason, luckily I don't see many of these photos that I'm in, because it's just something where I'm trying to keep this kind of fun, a little bit lighthearted. Is I have resting asshole face. It's just a natural face. So all of these photos, if you ever see it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, I'm just like, because that's just how my natural face is, right? We're outside, it's like 30 degrees, it's wonderful, we're doing our thing, and I'm just standing there like, whatever.
And you're the only person in shorts.
Yeah, I mean, people can spot me a mile away, right? Because they'll see bright white, like white as the sun there, like white legs, and they're like, that's him right there, because no other will be out there in shorts with those pale legs. So fun stuff. But that was 2016. It was just like it was yesterday. So
yes, you're right.
In 2017, I decided that, we're doing really good at this and we're actually starting to fill several bags at a time. So maybe we could get more of the community involved to help us. So we started reaching out to local businesses and residents, allowing them to do food drives and paper drives. And so we had a couple drop-off points in the city, and it was just kind of overwhelming, all the people that wanted to help us, that wanted to be a part of it. And at this time in 2017, the Tennessean did a story on us about what we were doing and why we were doing it. And so we saw a lot more interest in it after they aired the story, because Fox 17 picked it up and did it on one of their morning news shows, just a brief thing about it, talking about the Tennessee story.
There you go.
And so we had quite a few people saying, okay, what can we do to help? What can I do? And at this point, it was kind of late in the year. So I said, just show up the day of the event, show up, shake some hands, tell them thank you, And of course, by this time, most of the veterans that had been there for a little while were like, okay, yeah, you guys get it. And you're just here to pass some things out. And, they started knowing we were going to be there every year.
After about 5 years, it's like, wait, these people are consistent and they're going to come.
We can't get rid of these people. They're going to keep knocking on our door.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. But
So,
the thing about it is, you have your angel tree and I, I'm kind of brash about some things. You got your angel tree, and you got your Salvation Army and stuff, and everybody, like United Way, everybody wants to peel their little cut off the top. This is a situation where when you're going to help a veteran, you can set those things right in that veteran's hands. You knock on the door, they open the door if they're not already standing out there. Nowadays, they stand out front.
Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, and they're able to, the people that are able to give right to the person themselves that actually, that did their service and did their time and did all that. The family is able to give directly to that person, and they don't see a middle person or somebody. You know how things are nowadays. Everybody's got to get their damn hand in your pocket. But
wow,
I'm sorry. I had to throw that in.
I have that in here later on.
Okay, the hand in the pocket.
Here, okay, this is
the hand in the pocket later on.
You still got the Tom spin. You got the Jay spin. Okay, it's coming at you hot. Live takes all the time.
So, in 2018. We wanted to try to do something more during the year, because at Christmas time, we were doing really good at providing things for them and food items and stuff. But, we thought, there's got to be something we can do all year long for them. And about that time, I started noticing on Facebook where different communities were doing blessing boxes. And that's where they would put a box out and people would just bring food or items and drop them off. And then if you were in need, you could just take it. So we had an old metal cabinet, and I painted it blue and put blessing box on it. And I took it over to the veterans home. Well, we unloaded it in the truck, and I had gotten a hold of some of my couponers at the time and asked them to donate items to just get the box going. And so they had a little foyer where they would go into their laundry room. So it was by a soda machine. It was a perfect little spot. And then that way, if they're running a little low on some food and they needed something to eat, they could go there and get some, maybe some soup or crackers or whatever. And so after we got it in place and we got it stocked up, I reached out on HIP Gallatin promoting it, saying, hey guys, this is for the veterans. If while you're doing some grocery shopping, spend a few dollars more and just drop off some items. And I also had in it a clipboard that asked the veterans, what are we not putting in here you would like to see? What would you like more of? And, we found out then that one of the people had a dog. So we would make sure we put dog food or dog treats in there. And, it became it really became a good tool, because then when it got a little low at the end of the month, they could go in there.
That's pretty cool.
It becomes more personal that way.
Right. Sure. In 2018, we also started a Facebook page called Santa's Forgotten Heroes to be able to stay in touch with all the volunteers, because, about October, I would be getting all these messages. Hey, what's going on? When's it going to be this year? Have you gotten any list yet? What do they need? Things like that. And I also at that point realized, with the blessing box, we're providing the necessary items pretty regularly now. At Christmas, I want to make it more about giving them something special. So I reached out and I put on our Facebook page asking people if they would like to sponsor a veteran, meaning that when I got their form, they would get the form and they could see things that he'd like to have, and just maybe one or two special items.
Or she.
Or she, right, because we do have females in there.
We've had Thomas, or the Life in General podcast. We do not only
discriminate.
All genders.
Yeah, we don't discriminate.
And speaking of Facebook pages out there, excellent plug in there for the Santa's Forgotten Heroes. I will link that below in the description, so anybody who watches here we'll be able to link to that Facebook page. I think we did that last week. We'll go ahead and do it this week. I think maybe in the week previous, because last week's episode we're having some technical difficulties on the back end. That's all me. But also, don't forget, Life in General Podcast. We have a Facebook page. If you have not been invited to that, it might just be because I don't know that you're out there. And if you want to, give us a shout out and want an invite, please let us know in the comments below. And we'll be more than happy to get with you, get you invited, and get the ball rolling there. So,
and for the first time, the last episode, we had comments.
Not the first time, but we just had the most comments.
Okay, yeah, because they were talking about that military medical procedures, and a couple of military guys that I know, they're like, "Wait a minute, dude."
Hey, and we very much thank you for your service, and thank you for
Absolutely.
your comments and for your insight. It was excellent to be able to interact that way. Like the engagement
Yes, it was.
here is something that was absolutely wonderful. So we do thank you all for doing that.
Well, it's a different perspective too. It's because they told me things I didn't know about, when they were explaining.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the points that were brought up were fantastic. And it's something that, hey, somebody who's never served, I mean, you just don't have that kind of perspective, right? And it was incredible to be able to engage in that way. So we thank y'all very much for doing that. Yeah.
So if people want to comment on this, they're more than welcome to comment on this. Absolutely. Smash the like button, comment, subscribe, all those things that you're supposed to do. Yeah, whatever they're supposed to do,
Holla at your boys.
Yeah, especially on the 18th. Is it the 18th?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my secretary over here is going, shut up, old man. I still got to keep rolling. So what year are you on?
I'm on 2018.
Okay, 18.
Okay. Cool. So also that year, it was kind of a bigger year for us, 2018. Several things changed. Another thing was we were having so many donations and food drives that we had to have a packing day. Up until this point, I would get with like Anita Williams or Lori France, and we would just take a day and we would take all of them and go, okay, this bag gets one, this bag gets one, this
somebody's garage or somebody's kitchen.
It was really low key because we had items where they got some things, but it wasn't overwhelming. Well, 2018, and I think part of that was because the year before the Tennessean got involved and I made, the Facebook page. And so it was really, the word was starting to get out in the community. So we had to have what was called a packing day. And that was about a week before, where we would gather all the items because I had different businesses doing food drives. I had, schools helping,
Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts,
just people in the community going, well, I've got all this stuff. What do you want me to do with it? So we got a hold of Wendy's in Gallatin and we asked if we could use their atrium. I knew that they had the big tables that we could put together the way we wanted. And so the Wendy's in Gallatin on Main Street said, sure. They were very, very helpful. They were very accommodating.
Gina Carr let us do that.
They were very accommodating. They donated bags. Cracker Barrel donated bags. And, so we were able to have quite a bit for them that year. But even with the packing day, and we put it out on Hip Gallatin, the day of the event that year, we had people driving up, dropping off donations. So then we had to spread everything out and go, okay, this one gets this one gets all over again. And as we're doing this guy pulls up in a pickup truck and he's like, hey, I've got some stuff for you. And we're like, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, we heard about you guys. I was talking to, I don't know if it was coworkers or family members, but they all got together, threw a bunch of money in, and he pulled back the tarp on his truck and it was crammed full of canned goods and non-perishable foods. The whole bed of the truck. That was just overwhelming at that point. It was like, to know that what started with just a little bag was the point where people were dropping off truckloads of items for the veterans.
Goodness.
So, we had to go and we had to unload them, and then we got them all divided out quickly for the donations. In 2018, another thing that we implemented was the Gallatin High School Band. Tom was driving the tractor and trailer for the high school band to competitions that year. And so we got to know the band director fairly well, and Mr. Earl and Kay and Sean. They're all great people. They do wonderful things with those band kids. It's amazing to watch their interaction. But they you know, they wanted to pay him for driving the tractor, and he's like, I just really would like for the band to show up for the Santa's thing this year. I think it would be cool to have the band there playing songs and Christmas carols, and
it doesn't have to be all 100 of them.
No, just a handful. So
just send out about 12 or 18 kids, a variety of instruments to play in the background. It doesn't have to be all 100 people.
So they showed up and they started playing that year, and it was great. I mean, you could really tell that the atmosphere changed a little bit that year too. More people were coming out. We were doing a little more things. Even the veterans were starting to get where they were a little more, we'd show up and they would start coming out of their rooms knowing we were there. So that really made a difference. I think we sang Christmas carols. We had people, as we were going door to door, singing Christmas carols. So 2018, I would say, probably was the turning year of events for us.
Tipping point, if you will.
Yes, the tipping point.
The breakthrough year. Yeah.
That's it.
2019 was kind of a little bit different year because, as I said the year before, we were asking them, what would you like? What can we do for you? What can Santa bring you? And we had one of the veterans put on his list that really all he wanted to do was to be able to buy his grandchildren a present for Christmas. And once again, that pulls at those heartstrings. As I'm reading through the things, I called Tom. He was out on the road, and I said, this just breaks my heart. Here I am worried about, am I giving my grandchildren enough presents? And he just wants to give his grandchildren a present each,
I gotcha.
So I said, we have to do this. We have to make this happen. So we reached out to the Iron Legacy Motorcycle Club, the Ashland City chapter, who has been a part of this for quite a few years. They always come out, they always support. They usually take several veterans and sponsor. And we said, we have a special need. Can you help us with this? And they said, absolutely. Whatever you need.
And let me tell you how much fun it is to push a basket around Walmart for somebody and shop for somebody else for Christmas and spend somebody else's money. I mean, it's like, give me 2 of those and give me 6 of those and give me 3 of those. And I was telling the lady, just get whatever you want. Get whatever you want for your children. There was like 4 baskets, and we were pushing them around, and we're like, get, because she had, I think, 4 children. And so we were like, get some of those and get some of those.
That's
and
cool.
So we did. We took 4 baskets and we put a child per basket. And, and at first she was really like, oh, well, yeah, that would be okay. And we're like, no, you don't understand. We want them to have one of the best Christmases they're ever going to have, so it's like toys, clothes, pajamas. Do they need new shoes? Do they need, and she was just so overwhelmed, that we would do this for her.
The fun part about it's when you pay for all of it and you push it out to her car and go, it's on you now. You got to take all of this stuff and put it in your car, which is probably not going to fit. Then you got to keep it away from the kids for the next, week, 10 days, 2 weeks. And it was one of these things where there was one of these little dinosaurs where when you went by and made noise, the dinosaur would make noise.
Oh, I bet they love
that. She put it in a closet. And it's like every time one of the kids would go walking by, the dinosaur would go, roar. We're just like, well, that's on you. Merry Christmas. So you had to have some fun with it. So, yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good day.
And that year, we received so much more support from the businesses in the community that we received so many donations that we had to find a bigger area for our packing day. So at the time I was bowling on a league in the Gallatin bowling alley, and I was talking, and one of the guys that was he was running the Gallatin bowling alley. he said, well, we have our big event rooms. And I said, well, what would you charge us to rent one out? And he's like, for the veterans, don't worry about it. We got you covered. So we pulled up with several vehicles and was unloading, and the workers there, they were great about coming out and helping us. And so we used one of their big event rooms and was able to do the packing day. And as you can see there from the pictures, there was we were able to organize stuff to where, okay, that's paper goods, this is canned goods, this is, clothing, things like that. So the community really showed their support that year with donations. For this year, I kind of threw in just some pictures that I thought was kind of cool. Was as we were going through that year, Santa, as he does, he walks room to room, just saying hello. One of the veterans just hugged him and held on tight. She was, it was her first year there at the veterans home. And she just couldn't believe that we came out and did this. And so there's a really good picture of her just hugging and thanking Santa. And we're there to thank them, and then there's another picture of the Williams family. And they're one of the ones who have been here from the beginning, helping us.
Anita and Jeff.
She works behind the scenes with me, coordinating everything. And now that we're in Ecuador, her and Lori have really stepped up and
put it all together.
Help me on that end, doing a lot of the legwork. But there's a picture in there of them actually giving the stuff to the veterans, as Tom was talking about. That's one of the things that people said they like. We're sponsoring that vet, and we get to walk up and go, here, we got you some things, And we always try to, if you sponsored someone the year before and that veteran is still there, I try to link them up with that veteran again the next year. That way they kind of build a bond and they know what they've gotten them the year before. And, so it seems like that really works the best.
A lot of times their children will develop a relationship with that veteran too, because when the kids get involved and the parents can teach them that it's all about giving and not just getting all the time, especially in the generations we have today.
Okay.
Yeah. It works. All right. Easy now. Easy.
I have to tell this story real quick. I have a granddaughter, Lily, and she was very little when we started this thing. And but she's every year they come out as a family and they go door to door with us. And she always hands a candy cane to a veteran and thanking them for their service. And not last year, but maybe it was last year. I don't know. They're all running together at this point. But she's a Girl Scout and she sold Girl Scout cookies. And she said, sometimes we have people buy them and they don't want the cookies. They donate the cookies. They're like, here, I just want to donate money, but here. So she ended up with about 12 boxes that was donated. And she said, you know what I want to do with them? And I said, what? She said, I want to go to the veterans home and I want to give them to the veterans. And, that's when you know that what you're doing made a difference. Right. For her to say, that they deserve these. So, that was kind of cool that she herself would come up with that idea. What in the picture with the Williams giving their veteran, when they got done that day, they were on their way home and they're raising their grandchildren. And the youngest one said, you know what? That was so much fun today. I want to do it again tomorrow. Right. And that's like, that's just kind of a breathtaking type thing to know that you're impacting the next generation, with things like that.
Yeah, that's really cool to be able to kind of see the change. Like you can almost see the mental state kind of be like, hey, look, this is what like kind of life could be like, right? You could be more giving, right. You can be more thoughtful, and something that that's just an incredible program that has been just fantastic. So
right.
Well, and the Wendy's in Gallatin has helped us every year.
I got a list here later on, baby.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In 2019, one of the founding members, Ronnie Animal Stinson, he worked for Coca-Cola that year, and he actually got Coca-Cola to donate a case of water to every veteran. So he pulled up with his pickup truck and they were Dasani. Was it Dasani?
Yeah.
A case of Dasani for every veteran. Unfortunately, that was Animal's last year. He passed away in a motorcycle wreck that year. But Michael Shaver of Michael Shaver Plumbing has picked up that tradition now in Animal's honor, and he always makes sure that he donates a case of water to every veteran in Animal's honor. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And then the next picture is going to be of the lady that we bought Christmas for.
Oh, yeah.
We actually found out that the year before she made a bunch of baked goods and had brought them for the veterans because her dad was there and she thought it was a cool idea. And then as we're out handing out stuff and passing stuff out, I realize she's there that day on event day, help carrying items and passing things out, so it's like, to be able to give to her and knowing that she's out there giving back as well.
Right.
Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I don't want to say a word.
In 2020, of course, everyone knows that was the year of the pandemic, and it's
all bullshit.
It was gonna.
The Life in General podcast does not in any way admonish the CDC, the COVID pandemic as not something that is real. It is definitely real. A crazy person in Ecuador spouting off nonsense. YouTube overlords, please do not harm us.
So we realized that 2020 was going to be a little bit different because people weren't going to want to come out of their houses and do this, and they weren't going to participate as much, and so
well, they should have.
So Anita had a brainstorm, and she's like, "What if I do an Amazon wish list where I can put items on there that we know we need, and then people from all over." Who don't want to get out, they don't want to go by the store, they can still buy. It'll get shipped directly to her. And then on packing day, she'll just bring everything. And it really had a good success to just start it last year.
Modern problems call for modern solutions.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
And due to the pandemic, we were seeing a lot of posts on like Hip Gallatin and stuff where nobody was doing Santa because they didn't want to be with Santa to get with the kids and get sick. And, so we thought, well, the day before packing day, we went to Gallatin in one of the strip malls, and we got in front of an empty storefront, and we set up Santa and made it a donation point where people could drive by, we'll go to their car, we'll get the stuff out. They don't even have to get out. But if somebody wanted to just come by and get their picture taken with Santa, bring your phone. We're not trying to make any money off of it. We're not trying to sell you photos. Just bring your phone, bring your kids or animals. And we had dogs. People show up with their dogs to get the Santa's picture.
Yeah,
we were
good. What?
We're on the strip mall with a Dollar General on, the Dollar General's on this end and H.G. Hill's on this end. And we've got people out on the streets holding up, how they do car wash signs. Well, this is free picture with Santa.
Yeah, the best thing ever was when the guy in the maroon Buick rolls up and says, "You got free puppies?" "No, sir. Free pictures with Santa." And then drives off. That was great.
But so people would stop and they're like, what are you doing? Well, you want to have your picture made with Santa? Yeah. Well, how much? It doesn't cost anything, but what are you doing? What's all that stuff? Well, we're taking donations for the veterans. Oh, okay. Well, then they take their picture, and then next thing I know, they come back with a shopping cart from Dollar General full of toilet paper or paper towels or something.
Right. Yeah,
it was kind of
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then
pretty different.
We also had one person pull up in a van, and her grandson got out, and he walked up and he handed us money. And we're like, we had a jar there for them to put it in. And we're like, no, you can put it in there. And they wanted to hand it to us. So we're like, okay. It was 3 $100 bills that they donated for us to be able to go buy, items for the thing. So, even though we were going through the pandemic, to know that the community was still wanting to do things. Now, that year we didn't have as many people personally handing out stuff. that they had gotten. I had several that have done it every year that said, I'm not comfortable being there. And we're like, that's okay. So we met with them, we got their presents, and we made sure they got passed out. But we did. We had a really, really overwhelming with that, setting that up and doing those pictures. People kept saying, we're just glad you're doing the pictures. They'd have babies and stuff, like, we wanted pictures with Santa. So that was really a good idea.
Nobody wet my leg, so I was in good shape. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was able to,
good stuff.
And we sat out there for a few hours. I mean, and it's just like I said, Santa's got a beard on. He's got a mask, so to speak, and just put all that other crap aside and roll on out and get your picture made, because everybody's like, ooh, I can't go to the mall and there's no Santa at the mall and we can't. You know how I feel about all. I don't get me off on that.
Well, due to the pandemic, Wendy's dining room was closed that year. So we reached out, and because we needed a place big enough with all the donations, but where we could spread out. I don't think the Gallatin bowling alley was even open at that time with everything going on. So once again, Gina Carr's like, yeah, you guys can use the dining room. So we took over their whole dining room, and which was good because we had so many donations that year. And we were able to spread everything out. And now we had gone to a box. We went and got uniform boxes last year. And so they got a box full of food and canned goods. And then they got several shopping bags full of paper products, laundry detergent, things like that.
The Cracker Barrel in Gallatin's been real good about the shopping bags every year too.
Cool.
We need to throw them a shout out.
Yep.
Yeah. Cause they always come through when you ask for.
I'd go in and I'd say, hey, I need my shopping bags. And they're like, how many do you need? Here you go. Cool. This year, as a matter of fact, the Cracker Barrel in Lebanon, since Anita lives out that way, they went there and talked to them. And the bags are a little smaller than we have been using. So they said, well, here, we'll give you 2 instead of 1. We'll give you 2 bags per.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So that was kind of cool. Last year, we also had Westmoreland Cub Scout Troop 430 join us this year. They did a food and paper drive for us in 2020. And then they came out the day of the event to help pass the items out. And so that was kind of a big event for them, helping the community and seeing the veterans. The Girl Scouts also was out there. One of the Girl Scouts troops, and I'm sorry, I don't know what the Girl Scout troop number is, but they actually sponsor one of the veterans for the last couple years. They've that's one of their projects that they do. And then in one of the pictures, you'll see the Boy Scout troop wanted to get their picture made with the Iron Legacy Motorcycle Club. So you'll see a bunch of bikers and a bunch of Boy Scouts. So that was
the bikers are really Boy Scouts too. Let's don't give them a bad rap.
That was kind of cool.
And you have the Nashville chapter of the Iron Legacy. You have Ashland City chapter, and you also have the Smithville chapter. So shout out to them.
They all come down.
Those 3 chapters always come down, and they're a huge help.
Because they each sponsor one or 2 veterans, and they always help with packing and loading things and passing items out. So
and directing traffic, or whatever you need them to do, they do whatever you need them to do. So they're a huge help.
In the next picture, you'll see Santa. We have supporters from all different ages. And here he is holding one, and it was I don't know if it was a girl or boy, but it
was a little girl.
It was a little girl, and she's only a few weeks old.
20 days.
20 days old.
20 days old. Came out to support.
And we always want to make this personal for the veterans and the volunteers. So as we mentioned before, so the volunteers that sponsor the veteran actually get to hand the gifts personally. And it becomes quite emotional for both, and so we have a picture of showing that.
Somebody, usually a church or an organization in the community, will usually come over and provide a hot lunch for them that day.
Yeah.
We do the passing out at 10 o'clock, and it usually, it might take an hour, going, just going slowly from door to door with some music playing and things like that. It might take an hour and a half, but somebody usually, they have a great room where they meet, sometimes, and usually somebody in the community, a church, like I said, or somebody else will come and provide a hot lunch, a meat and three or something for all the everybody in the rooms. Cause they don't have a lot of cooking area. It was a hotel. So they might have a 2-eye burner and a microwave. It's not like they've got an oven and, all that other stuff that goes along with it, because it was a hotel.
A couple years ago in the day room where they served them, they had a group come in and they completely remodeled their day room. And now the day room, they have a big refrigerator and an oven and a stove and all that in there. But like you said, not in actually the rooms themselves. They're kind of limited on space. One of the things that we've started doing the last few years is encouraging volunteers to show up in festive attire, with Santa hats and, so you'll see pictures of them in their Santa pajamas and things like that. But it's really kind of cute. And I think the veterans kind of like, it just adds to the atmosphere, the festivities.
This you have in the notes, feisty attire. And I think, oh my goodness, hopefully festive. You didn't text everybody and say, come out and fight.
Yeah, no, it's festive. To wrap up the event, we always, at the end, we always gather and we ask Jeff Williams to read a poem, and it's called the Soldier's Christmas Poem. And it's kind of moving, but every year he does that. He'll conclude the event with a prayer. Michael Shaver Plumbing the last few years has usually at the beginning, he'll say a prayer to get things going, and then Jeff will round things up, and then he does the Soldier's Christmas Poem. And as you can see from the pictures, every year this event is bigger than the year before. We have several groups and businesses. Like you said, the Ashland City, Nashville, and Smithfield chapters of the Iron Legacy Motorcycle Club sponsor veterans every year and help pack. Michael Shaver Plumbing donates cases of water every year and shows up with his staff to participating in passing out the items. Wendy usually donates gift bags to stuff the paper products into. They've allowed us to use their dining room. They'll even donate combo cards for each of the veterans so they can go there and get a combo meal. Cracker Barrel donates the shopping bags. We couldn't do it without the ongoing love and support of the family and friends and volunteers that donate their money and time into giving back. The list is very long, and I know I'm probably leaving people out, and I sure don't mean to do that, but it's just sometimes hard to remember every name and everybody that's helped out. And it's more about giving than the recognition,
Right.
News Channel 5 did a story on us about a week or so ago. They went and interviewed Anita about it, and the next day our Amazon wish list was sold out. The very next day. So now we have put on there some gift cards because it's getting closer to the packing day, and the gift cards is something that we can just drop in, and we're trying to get enough to do a gift card for every person. So anybody listening that still wants to help, there's time. You can go to the Amazon wish list and, buy a $20 card for us. I think we need 14 more.
When is packing day, Pat?
Packing day is this Sunday, the 12th. Yeah, Sunday, the 12th. If you go to the Santa's Forgotten Hero, it tells you all about if you want to drop off items, what time you need to be there to drop them off by so that they have time to get them organized before they actually start packing. Of course, if you can't come during that time, we're never going to tell you no. They'll have plenty of help there. If you just pull up and say, hey, I've got stuff I need to drop off, they'll have someone else come out to the car, get it, and carry it in. This year event is on the 18th of December, a Saturday. We start at 10. I ask everyone that's sponsoring a vet to try to be there by 9:15 because we try to line up everybody and make sure every veteran is spoken for. And if we see that someone hasn't made it, I can reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on? Last year we had a lady who ended up having to go to the hospital, but we were able to coordinate and still get the veteran their stuff. So, we want to make sure that nobody's forgotten that way, and if we have to, we'll run to the store and buy some gift cards, but we ask that people come out and support and, help pass items out. If you're not able to donate anything, your time is valuable too to us. So
Yeah.
we are looking to make this one of the biggest years yet. And I think we're on the track to doing that.
It's the 10th anniversary, and it's time to get back to normal things in your life. You don't have to put a disclaimer in there. Okay? I know you want to. I feel it coming.
Start screaming.
This makes you want to scream, doesn't it?
So, but we want to thank everybody that's helped and everybody that continues to help every year. So I hope.
Yeah, a huge thank you, especially to Anita and
Lori
and Jeff for helping, and they've been there since the beginning, and it's couldn't do it without them.
Anita the other day sent Jeff a picture, and he posted it on Facebook. This was a couple days after it aired on Channel 5, and he came home and their whole front porch was full of packages. And that was the second time the day that the UPS guy had been to their house. So it was like...
Yeah, I told her, I said, that guy, the Amazon guy loves that, or the UPS guy, because he could drop off half of his load at one house, and he's loving that.
Up fast enough, everything just fly out.
Yeah, just come right out the back end. Yeah, that's crazy.
Goodness.
Yes, sir.
That is cool.
Good stuff, though. Yeah. Good stuff.
And that's a very interesting story. And with something that amazes me is that they turned an old hotel, motel into a veterans home. It was just something where, we have to take care of our own, right? Of course, it's Gallatin, and it is something that, to me, is pretty astounding, right? I mean, they're going to be
people probably drive by it every day and don't even give it a second look. You know what I mean? They go up and down that street.
Like, it has the hotel aesthetic, right? So
yeah. I mean, they probably don't even think twice about it. And your grandmother worked for the American Legion state office for 22 years. So the American Legion has been in our family for a long time. And your granddad, my dad, was post commander in Memphis. At post number 1 in Memphis. I don't know how long they served, but he was a member of the American Legion, I guess all of his life, because he was a veteran, and Mom worked there for 22 years down on 8th Avenue in Nashville before they moved the headquarters. The state headquarters for the American Legion is out on Donaldson Pike. Now they in a freestanding building out there now. I was going to
say, isn't that like right next to like the FBI building out there? And there's like a friggin'
Well, that's post 88. That's one of the that's the Hermitage or Lebanon post. Yeah, right next to the FBI building out there. That's correct. Yeah, so they can keep an eye on each other. Yeah.
I did want to give one more shout out. The lady over there, her name is Joyce, that oversees the American Veterans Home for the commander. She always helps me every year. She gets me I give her the form. She makes sure I get them back. She'll let me know when new people have moved in. She's very accommodating. And, if I have someone say, well, what size sheets does this room, do they have in this room? She'll get me that information. And we couldn't do it without her help, because she helps us with so much about if somebody has just put gift cards on their form, and, I'm like, we'd like to know, do you know if they need anything? Do you know if, she's very good at helping get the information to us. And, she shows up the day of, and she's there to help to go door to door. And now, as we had said, from where nobody would even hardly open their doors to us to like now there's such a commotion across the street getting everything organized that people are out on their porches, sitting in their chairs, waiting on us.
Yeah.
You were talking about the veterans home a couple years ago. I guess it was about 2 years ago. We were doing it, and this guy, he stopped and he became a part of it. And later we were talking to different people. We had went into the day room and was sitting there talking to some of the veterans and stuff. And one of the guys was there, and he himself belonged to American Legion somewhere out of state.
He's in Ohio.
Yeah. And he said, well, I was going by and I saw all this going on at the American Legion. And I thought, what are they doing at their American Legion? There was nothing, supposed to be going on there today. So he stopped to see, and he just kind of got caught up in all of it. And he said, that first of all, he thought it was great that Sumner County had a home for the veterans. That, that's something that he wanted to go back and try to get implemented in their area. But to see our community stand behind the veterans and do this for them, he was just kind of like, this is great. It's so awesome that you guys do this. And he was just driving by and thought, what's all that? What's going on?
Yeah,
Wait, there's Santa.
That's pretty haphazard there.
Yeah,
When it comes to the brainstorming about doing this, I have to tell a little backstory about how this truly got started. Our chapter of the motorcycle club there in Gallatin wanted to gather a bunch of toys up to give to the kids, new and unwrapped toys, that we wanted to give the kids in the community. So, so we put them all in the van and we drove over to the Gallatin Police Department. Now you got 3 bikers that come into the front door of the Gallatin Police Department, and the desk sergeant's there, and they said, "Can I help you?" And we're like, "Yeah, can you tell us where the battered women's shelter is?"
How? Okay.
And they looked at us and said, "No." And they said, "Well," we said, "Well, we have toys for the kids that are there and their siblings that are in the shelter. So if you won't tell us where it is, then we'll bring the toys in and you guys take them over there." And the guy said no. And I said, "Hey man, serve and protect, right? You serve." And he said, "I'm fixing to serve your ass out of here if y'all don't leave the building. I'm fixing to call backup." So we're like, okay, cool. So we got back out to the van, and I said, "I know where we can take them." I said, "We'll take them over to the hospital in Gallatin." So Sumner Regional Medical Hospital is in Gallatin. So we pull up, we go in and ask the people, "Can we take these?" Now we had big Rubbermaid tubs full of brand new toys. I mean, tubs and tubs. You had to push them with a 2-wheeler. They were stacked up, all these toys that we collected through everybody's generosity of giving. And so we said, "Can we take these toys up to the pediatric floor and give them to the children that are in the hospital and then won't get out for Christmas, and their siblings that are there with them, so they have toys to play with?" And they said no. And we're like, "What, man?" Because we didn't have a patient. We weren't related to a patient on the floor. And I'm like, "Dude." And they're like, "No." So I said, "Well, I tell you what, you call the pediatric nurse supervisor and have her come down here and pick all these toys up and take them up to the kids." And so they called, and we all went out, there was a bunch of us, we went out there and got these toys and stood there at the elevator. When the elevator door opened up and that lady was standing there, we shoved all those toys in the elevator and hit the up button and said, "Merry Christmas." And we went back to the clubhouse, and I said, "It should not be that hard to give to people. We will never do that again." Make it be that hard on us to give back to the people in the community. And that's basically how that got started. We started talking to some veterans. Right in front of the veterans home in Sumner County is a little meat and three restaurant. And it used to be
Mary Ann's or Stars and Stripes, whatever.
No, it used to be called Stars and Stripes. And the lady sold it, and the guy that bought it calls it Old Glory. And so,
right.
I mean, it's right there in the parking lot of the veterans home. And so we were sitting in there one day, and we thought, why don't we just help these guys and girls that are right here that gave it for us to be able to sit here and eat, and have the freedoms we have. These people paid the price right here in this parking lot. So that's kind of how that all came to pass. But it's pretty crazy trying to give them toys away, man. We were like, "What? Nobody wants to let you in." But if you look like,
it is understandable to a degree, but something to take note on here is, in that instance, you were helping in a way that you wanted, not necessarily a way that was needed. Does that make sense? And there is a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a difference in wants and needs.
That's fair, but
and gifts and giving.
Right. So you're giving in a way or helping in a way that you want. We talked, I think, last week.
We thought We didn't think it all the way through, apparently.
Fair. Okay. So yeah, there's definitely something to be said about that. But yeah, that's an awesome tradition that you guys got started with help in the community. It's great to like see a world in which you'd want to continue existing because there are good people in it, and you can see that.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can
And there's a lot. There's a lot of good people. There's a lot of
Yeah.
good people out there that really just they want to help and they want to give back. It's not bad like everybody thinks. All the time. It's just not. It's not. And you can see that outpouring on December the 18th at 10 o'clock on South Water Street in Gallatin, Tennessee, at the Sumner County Veterans Home. Or if you would like to help on Packing Day, which is
December 12th at Wendy's in Gallatin.
Wendy's
On Main Street.
Wendy's in Gallatin on Main Street, right there at the corner of Red River and Main Street and Highway 31. They're all intersect together. The names, don't give me that look. I don't know what the name of all them streets are. Main Street, Broadway, Red River. Yeah.
Will just show up somewhere.
Y'all know where the Crystal's at on the corner? It's right across the
But if
street.
anyone has any questions or wants to help and needs to contact us, the Santa's Forgotten Heroes Facebook page is the best way to get to us, because I get alerts on my phone when someone has made comments or wants to join. So, and then I can answer them back through a private message if need be. But that is really the best way to stay on top of everything and see what's going on and how they can help.
She's flying in 3,300 miles away
To be
there that Saturday because it's
Coming
the
at you
10th
live.
anniversaries. That's
Yep.
right. That's
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
She'll be
Yep.
live and in living color on the 18th.
Yeah, I won't be there for the packing day, but Anita and Lori's handling that. So, but definitely will be there for the event day.
I was gonna say skipping the hard day. Gonna be there for the celebration there.
For the give out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
right.
Well, that is excellent stuff. Giving to others who have given all. That's a fantastic little slogan there. That was at the footnote here. That's something we'll throw into the podcast or the description and whatnot. We'll also put the Santa's Forgotten Heroes page again. Excellent stuff. We do. Pat, appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
explaining
They can
things.
also
Come on.
access the Amazon wish list on the Santa's Forgotten Hero page.
Sweet. Awesome. Very
So-
cool.
Well, thank you for having me and listening to the past 10 years and how it has progressed. So, and I
That's a
couldn't
long
do it
time,
without.
10
It is.
years, keep something going. That is insane. I mean, could you imagine
we
Dad
were-
and I doing this podcast in 10 years and be like, yeah, right, we're over
back,
that.
back in September when I was home from Ecuador back to the States, Anita and Lori and I were sitting around talking about how we were going to do this year and who was going to handle what. And we're like, wait a minute, what year is this? And then we started adding up. Well, we started it and it's like, oh my God, this is the 10th year of doing it. So yeah, we were pretty excited about that.
As Bo Burnham would say, that's pretty intense.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Cool. Well, we've hit our illustrious hour mark. Dad, is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I'm good. Salute to the veterans.
Pearl Harbor Day.
And I was going to say that. Pearl
but you
Harbor.
didn't.
Yeah,
All right.
I know. I didn't get a chance. Pearl Harbor Day was actually yesterday.
Right.
So it's need to remember all the people there. December 7th, 1941. So this is a veteran show right here for the veterans and all they do for us and are still doing. Don't get me started about leaving them in Afghanistan.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get the little hook and take him out there. Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching the Life in General podcast here with special guest Pat talking about Santa's Forgotten Heroes. Thank you also very much for watching and sticking with us and putting up with Dad, myself. Nobody else. It's just Dad, myself. Because
That's right.
Goodness gracious. I'm surprised we can put up with each other. But thank you all again. Our 37 subscribers. Much love. Appreciate you. And then we will get the spread the word, spread the cheer. And think about this. Have you given recently?
I try.
No.
See you.
See.